Okay, we're going to take a good look at your swimming. Now, of course, we've got all the information you need on a great stroke in the Library of Success, lots of videos, have a look at them. I'm saying the same things over and over again, so what I'm going to do is just make some key points that we're going to aim for. Then I'll be looking at your stroke and the vision of you and seeing where we're falling short or not. The first thing we're looking for is an early catch. So the hand goes into the water here and we're catching straight away, catching the water. So you've got to pop that elbow a little bit, activate your back and pull it through, right? Catching the water straight away. Your hand, your fingertips need to point down to the ground as soon as possible. Not arrow through and all the way out there and let them fall down and then turn it. From the top, about 10 centimeters under, grab that water and pull it back. Now, when I was young, we used to do like a snaking thing from in front of your shoulder over to the other hip and back around like a big S. No, now we go straight. In, catch, straight to the hip, all the way down to the thigh and pull it out. So when it comes out, your thumb is scraping right down near your knee and you push that out straight. Don't turn the hand, don't turn the hand, don't slice it. Don't make an easy way out. Don't let go of your catch. So you get your catch here, early, boom, all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way, and then all the way out, boom, past the leg there. That's the way to do it. Now that was a bit ungraceful, but don't worry, got the point across. Okay, so you've grabbed the water and you've got to pull it back. Now sometimes we let our elbow lead the way, and now look at that, look at the water, it's escaping up here, it's escaping from the hand. Oh, we're not going anywhere. You're going to waste time, energy, everything. It's crazy. Don't do it. So what we're going to do, catch the water, hold the water, and your elbow has to be above your wrist. So if we're swimming along here, we've caught the water. Look where my elbow is to catch the water. It's above the wrist. You've got to keep that position, elbow above the wrist. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and then push. Don't let the elbow, this is what it looks like when the elbow collapses. Boom. Look at the water, escaping out, escaping out. No. Hold it and pull all the way. Same here. God, I've got to get taller. Hang on. Let's put it down here. When it goes past and coming out, look at that. If you release your elbow, oh, water's escaping it, but I can get the hand out easier. Or I turn the hand. Oh, water's escaping, but I get the hand out. No, here, push, boom. Like you're throwing a stone straight at your foot. Boom, push that water. You've got to feel it go past your toes. Try and breathe both sides. It keeps you balanced in the water. You breathe when the opposite hand goes into the water. So when the wrist breaks, it gets to the wrist, you're catching the water there, that's when you take your breath, boom, and pull it through. Use your core strength and your glutes, so have your belly button in, your glutes activated, so you're not over-rotating all the time. You want to stay nice and level. You only need one eye out of the water to breathe, so not too much. A lot of people are turning around looking up at the sky. It's too much. Shoulders go down, hips go down, then your legs kicking out to keep you balanced, and you look like an octopus. No good. Keep kicking throughout, it gives you balance. When you kick, you don't break the water, so you're not like boom, boom, boom out the top of the water. It's furious, and the water's going everywhere, but you're not. You're not going anywhere. All you want is your feet just to the top of the water, making it boil from the glutes and the hips rather than from the knees, right? Ankles are relaxed and toes are pointing towards each other. So now we'll take a look at your stroke. Looking at your stroke here, Izzie, you've got a good stroke. You're really powerful through the water, and your right arm works really, really well. Your kick is strong, but we are chopping that right arm in a bit close to the head, and the left as well. But really, the left's main job is to hold you up in the water while we lift that head out and look ahead. On every time you bring your head out of the water, it's too much work, and I think more than anything, it upsets the timing of your stroke. That's why you're a bit like the old 1-2, you know, like a really good right arm and a short left arm. And look at that kick coming right up, and then you lift your head up, the feet sink down, and so you're a little bit up and down in the water as well. So here's the head popping out so we can see that. And look, we're going to see it on every stroke. Sometimes it's really quick, but it's always there, and more as you get tired. What else? We've got that left arm comes in the water. It's got to go in front of your left shoulder. It's almost in front of the right shoulder, so it's too far across. So that'll probably make some too much rotation. We'll check that. But look at that there. There it is again. Right there. Too far across. So you want to put your arms in front of the shoulders. But there are some really good things that you're doing that hardly anybody else is doing. And I think maybe that's why you are so quick, which is good. But perhaps you're not as efficient as you'd like to be. That kick's good and strong and straight, but again a bit up and down every time you lift up. As you can see, it drops off. You are a really fast swimmer, but there's three things behind that, I think. You've got your will, your fitness, and a really good right arm. Now, that's not to say we can't work on it a little bit, so let's take a closer look at that. Your right arm arrows in a little sharply in front of your head, and as we keep looking and you swim past, you can see right in front of your face almost, so it needs to be out further in front and just in front of your shoulder, not across to the middle. Now you breathe on the left side, so the correct time to breathe is when your wrist enters the water. But because you're lifting your head, you're doing that out of sync. You're lifting your head out of the water a little bit early. You can see that your head's right out, you're looking straight ahead, and those fingers aren't even in the water yet. So we'll talk more about that in a second, but I didn't want to ignore it. We'll go back to the right hand. What we really want to see is a high elbow recovery as you reach further forward over the top of the water. Place the hand in front of the shoulder, not in front of the head, and enter the water that way to set up your stroke, rather than driving it in right in front of your head. The next thing we can see from this angle is the way you end the stroke, and you leave the water early right out away from your body with the little finger coming out first. Now that means you've let go of the water and you've turned your hand to get it out early, and that might be all part of your timing with your breathing and trying to rush, but with it so wide from your body, it means you're snaking underwater instead of pulling straight back towards your hip, which is what we really want. You can get a really big push from this last part of your stroke, so what you've got to do is keep your fingers pointing straight down, the palm back towards your feet, and like you're throwing a stone at your foot, you push that water back in a big thrust to finish off the stroke. What you're doing is turning the hand, releasing the catch, and pulling the hand out early and easily. So if you're pushing that last part of your stroke properly, the back of your arm should get very tired. And so the main thing we want is fingers pointing down, and it's got to be like you're throwing a rock at your feet, and you should feel the water race past your toes as you push that little bit back, and your thumbnail should scrape your thigh. Going underwater, I love how you grab the water here. The only thing is the elbow is a little bit low. You get your fingers pointing down to the floor by bending your wrist mainly. What would make you way more powerful was if that elbow was about 2 inches higher, and then you'd be in a position to really engage your back as you pull the water back. I mentioned earlier that your right hand comes in too far across in front of your head, and you can see your first movement is to bring it back in front of your shoulder so it can be more effective. So let's just put it in the water in front of your shoulder. So here we can see that good catch, which would be improved by having that elbow a little bit higher. So we've spoken about that, but you watch yourself as you bring the arm through there. The elbow's above the wrist now, and look at you ready to rip the water. Boom. So now we're looking at the really effective part of your stroke. You've got the water, you've got your palm pointed back towards your feet, your fingers are pointing down, and you're really able to drive that water back. Now, it's really only for about 1.5 feet before you twist the hand and pull it out early. So you could have a much longer and more effective stroke if we reached a little further out in front, right in front of the shoulders, got our fingers pointing to the bottom by lifting our elbow up a little bit towards the top of the water rather than just cocking your wrist and then pulling all the way through until your thumb brushes past your thigh as you use the full length of the stroke and pull it out just above your knee, really. Okay, the left arm is inexorably linked to this lifting of the head, and look, I would say it's your main job of your left arm is to get your head up out of the water the way you're doing it. So let's take a closer look at that. But before we do, I'm prompted by the videotape. This is your head position as you're swimming along normally. You're looking ahead underwater. You must look straight down at the floor to get that alignment in your body. Now here comes your left hand arrowing in too close to your head. You need to reach out over the top of the water. That will make it way better, because look, you're just pushing it forward underwater here, and look at that. Now it's like you're pushing against the water, right? Against the water. As you drop that elbow, the elbow is going to be higher than the wrist. It's not, it's way lower. And then look at you, it's like a stop sign there. You're like, stop, and you're starting to breathe out. You're getting ready to lift that head, and watch this now. What you do is you push down on the water to lift the head up. You're not pulling the water back towards your feet at all. You're just worried about getting that head up. The left arm's got to be part of everything. So we want elbow above the wrist. We want our fingers pointing down. We want to catch the water. And you actually do it, and not really that late compared to some people, but it's right under your shoulder. And you can see it here. That's when you put it in, your elbow's dropped here, and you're starting to catch the water here, okay? But there is where you're really effective. And so we know that you pull your hands out early. So you're really, again, looking at a foot and a half of effective stroke. So your left arm's probably more effective than I thought, but then there's all this shenanigans at the start where the head actually scoops down, and it's like you've got the fingers pointing the wrong way. They're pointing to the surface rather than straight down to the ocean floor where you can engage with an effective catch. Your kick is quite good, again, willful, powerful, displaying your fitness. But look, when you breathe, you do bend your legs, your scissor kick there. And it's hard to get your rotation right, but these are pictures of great swimmers and their rotation. So the biggest one there is about 35 degrees. Look at you here when you're breathing. You can see your hips are right down there. Oh, they're not one on top of the other, but they're getting there, okay? And so that's why we're getting you to breathe every fourth stroke, so you can be a bit more level in the water, because when you're not breathing, you do have good rotation. So you've got to use your stomach and your glutes to hold that body in position when you breathe. Just turn your head. So we need to calm that down a little bit as you reef that head out of the water. Look at the feet sink there. So it is having a big effect, this head. So looking at your head lift now, as you swim along, every stroke you lift your head like this before you breathe. This is unnecessary. It's damaging to the rest of your stroke. It sinks your legs. And if you want to see where you're going, once every 10 strokes, but there's a real habit here, so I know how difficult it's going to be to sort it out, but it's got to stop. When you're swimming along, you're looking too far ahead underwater anyway. You need to look straight down, but you come up and look, even let's say that you were just doing that straight into that to breathe, you really only need one eye out of the water. Okay, so you're turning that head too far in any event. Okay, so we've got to cut out the look up, and we've got to reduce the amount you're turning your head. Now, I wonder, and I'm suspicious, I wonder whether you're not breathing all your air out underwater, and so that you have to lift up, breathe out, then turn the head. So you need that extra time above the water to do all that. No, we've got to breathe all our air out. Almost all, so you do almost all your air out during the stroke, and then just before you turn to breathe, last little puff, poof, blow it out, and then straight away you're breathing in. You want to make the head turn to breathe as quick as possible. Okay, so you can get enough air, and people do it, but turning your head interrupts your stroke. Okay, but we need to breathe. So what we have to do is try to reduce the impact of the breath. Your breathing is dominating your whole stroke, so we've got to sort that out. But I mean, it's unbelievable how well you make up for it. But imagine if we didn't have to, and that's what we're going to aim for.